Hydra Publications is your one stop for the best in genre fiction. Secrets and Blood is the debut horror novel from Dewey Hensley. Evangeline Grace, the sheriff in a small town, eastern Kentucky coal mining county, longs to start a new life in another place. However, present and past evils conspire to jeopardize her plans and end the lives of those she loves, including her brother Sheldon, whom she promised to protect. Drugs, feuds, and her beliefs stand in the way of identifying the notorious Highlander in time to live her dream. However, menace reaches from Madison County's past.
Do you struggle with depression, ongoing medical issues, or have you experienced past trauma? If you have, please consider the help of energetic healing. At Dragonfly Pond Holistic Services, we utilize Karuna Reiki, crystals to align and heal chakra function, meditation, and sound healing to address these issues and help you in your healing process. To learn more about energetic healing and how to contact us, visit our website at dragonflypondenergy.com. For those who call in to schedule an appointment, mention this ad and receive $25 off your initial visit. From the Ground Up Books and Resources is more than just a place to buy books. We are a center that nourishes the passions of writers, artists, and book lovers alike. Our programs help educate writers and artists. Our holistic items and Reiki services offer a unique opportunity to build individuals from the ground up. Sign up for one of our memberships today and support us and bring our vision to life. 5% of all memberships will go towards prize money for contests and scholarships for our programs. Book donations are always welcome. Visit FromTheGroundUpBooks.com for more information.
Hello and welcome to Weirdos in the Wild with our co-host, AJ Oxley, paranormal investigator with Beyond This Life Paranormal and multi-generational paranormal enthusiast, and Lynn Tincher, Beyond This Life paranormal investigator, Reiki master, published author, and near-death experiencer. Travel with them, a couple of everyday weirdos on a wild ride to all things paranormal and metaphysical.
Hey everybody, welcome back. You are listening to Weirdos in the Wild, your favorite podcast, hopefully. My name is AJ.
And I'm Lynn.
Tonight, Lynn, what are we going to talk about?
Oh, let's see. Those things that people say are true or not?
We're going to talk about paranormal myths. So yes, what people think is true.
But are not.
But are not. So I think when it comes to paranormal, there's a lot of things that people see and that they believe because it was on TV, it was in a movie. You know, it's kind of what we believe in because we're
weirdos.
We're weirdos. You're really weird then if you want to believe what's on TV because none of that's true. So. Anyway, we thought we would talk about some of these and we would kind of debunk some of these, probably be able to debunk almost all of these with our personal experiences because we've had plenty of them. Mm-hmm. So, first of all, we are in, our first one, let's say this. Our first one is paranormal is bad for business. Well, as you all know, we are in the worldwide headquarters of Weirdos in the Wild, which is Lynn's bookstore.
From the Ground Up Books. We're in LaGrange tonight, but we're moving to Shepherdsville.
Which will be the new worldwide headquarters of Weirdos in the Wild because it's closer to our houses. But this says that paranormal is bad for business.
That's not true.
No. Would you like to tell why? First of all, tell them about this business And what happens in this building?
Well, I mean, first of all, we have a business called Weirdos in the Wild because of the paranormal. But
that's right.
Our current location in LaGrange From the Ground Up Books is at 207 Main Street. And I know you've heard us talk before that Main Street is haunted. This location itself is haunted. I have seen with my own two eyes the ghost of a woman here with a broom, and then recorded the sound of her sweeping and walking around through the building. There's been other things that's happened in this building as well. So people have been coming here recently just to talk about it or to see if they can experience something. And we've had a couple of experiences from that too, like the door opening and closing, the front door, which does not open easily, opening and closing all by itself. And then we've had some knocking and then some more, you can hear footsteps and stuff here as well. So in addition to that, my LaGrange location is moving right next door to 205 East Main Street, which is the historic Ballard House, which was built in 1840, and it is also haunted. I think we've done a show on that before where we've talked about the shadow person and some of the things that's gone on in there as well. So as part of that, we are going to open it as a haunted bookstore where people can come and do paranormal investigations. We have Keith Age and Rick Hayes, which are doing their Knowing event where they're going to train people how to ghost hunt as well as do a meet and greet, and then they get to ghost hunt the bookstore, and that's coming up in July. So, yeah, that's not true.
We just debunked it with Lynn's business.
All by myself.
But, there is a lot of other things. Like, we are lucky enough to be in Kentucky where Waverly Hills is. Mm-hmm. We've been to Waverly Hills between us several times.
Yep.
It is a business. It costs us money when we go out there. It is an attraction. It is a paranormal attraction.
Right.
There are several places like that around the country. There are UFO festival. There's a UFO festival in Roswell, New Mexico.
Imagine that. There's a Bigfoot festival that's on our list of places to go to sometime. That's is it West Virginia? I think so.
West Virginia. So this is bullshit. This is this is probably a word I'm going to use a lot tonight. I hope my mom's not listening. I don't think my mom even knows our podcast. Anyway, but sorry, Mom, if you are. But it sells. Paranormal sells right now. Watch TV. There's plenty of paranormal shows on television. You can believe in some of them or not, and I don't. Some of them, but anyway,
a lot of them got canceled because they were faking.
They were faking. Yes. So, but it sells. It sells advertisement, right?
Right.
So it definitely paranormal sells. I mean, Lynn bought me a shirt that talks about being a weirdo, and one of them says, I don't know what it was, fueled by ghost hunting and coffee. So, I mean, yeah, it sells. So, this one we could easily debunk.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the first one we're going to talk about. This one is I think we can do two pretty easily. Skeptics and believers don't get along.
Yeah, that one we can debunk because, number one, I'm, obviously a believer or I wouldn't be doing this, but I am married to a skeptic. AJ is dating a skeptic.
So it's, it's not that they don't believe. It's just that, I know it is. I don't think that they don't believe. It's just that their beliefs are different than ours, and that they really just let us do what we want to do.
Right.
And this is something we enjoy doing, and obviously it's something that we have turned into this podcast is one of the other things we enjoy doing about it. So there are questions, and I get questions from not only our significant others, but people in general. Mm-hmm. You'd be amazed when I don't go around telling people, okay, I have a podcast and that I'm part of a paranormal investigation group. I don't just go around tell people that.
No.
But when people find out about it, they may be skeptical, and they're like, you chase ghosts and you stay up all night and you go into these scary places, but inevitably they have lots of questions for you.
Oh yeah, and a lot of them even have experiences that, they think, well, maybe that could have been. They'll tell you about them, or try to get your opinion. What do you think? So yeah,
you might get a skeptic that says. And they'll tell you, I don't believe in this. I don't believe in any of this. I don't believe in ghosts. I don't believe in Bigfoot. I don't believe in UFOs. I don't believe in any of it. But let me tell you about this weird experience I had.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Run into a lot of those.
Yeah.
Then I even had one lady come into the store and she says, I don't think you believe in this stuff, but I've got a whole box of paranormal books. Do you want them?
And Lynn said, cha-ching.
Yeah. Like, bring it on, sister. You're right up my alley. So hopefully she brings those in.
But, it is funny that, and it's fine if a few years ago, some of the things that people have told me, I would have went, you're cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Right.
And now I've experienced stuff in my life that I have to look at it and go, how can I say you're crazy when I've told you I've seen full body apparitions, I've been touched, I've saw orbs, I've saw,
right.
I've heard
voices, sounds,
disembodied voices,
barks even.
But yes, we've heard dogs. That's one of the things we did here was a dog one time. So, I think that it's fine that people have different beliefs, but I also think that we can, as two different ways of looking at this, can get along. And, it's no different than, some people like pizza or pepperoni on their pizza, and some people like sausage on their pizza.
Or pineapple.
Yeah. Not me. But I think if you do get those two groups together, it does usually come to some sort of discussion. And at the end, we can agree to disagree, and that's fine.
That's right. Don't have to hate each other.
So one of the things on here, another list is modern zombies are supernatural. So they say that the term zombies has been around for a little over 100 years, and that before it said, I did some looking in on this. It said before 1968, it seemed to be a soulless slave that was created by Haitian voodoo magic before 1968. So the term came from Haitian voodoo magic.
Don't be messing with the voodoo.
And then after 1968, the term became famous because of The Night of the Living Dead was released.
Great movie.
And so that's where the word zombie was used.
So the myth is saying that it's supernatural?
The myth is saying that modern zombies are supernatural.
So if that's a myth, then it's saying that they're not supernatural. If,
So I think that, so I guess what it's saying is you're kind of lumping a lot of things into that.
Right.
Like vampires.
The undead.
The undead. A mummy. Jason. Freddy Krueger.
Right.
So I think that, again, if you look at it because of, the time frame there of, okay, this came out and this term became popular because of a movie.
Right. Where these characters were supernatural.
Mm-hmm.
When in reality, they're, like me when I don't have sleep. That I'm, considered a zombie.
Yes. So,
the day after a paranormal investigation.
So, yes. So I guess that's kind of one that has come out of almost a pop culture type of thing because zombies became famous because of a movie.
Right.
And we just talked about vampires. Nobody still believes in vampires.
Well, I have a friend named Bertina Varney who wrote her thesis in college on vampires and modern day vampires. And she did a lot of research and actually spoke with people that consider themselves vampires. They're not like Dracula in the movies, that they do a lot of the things that the vampires do. So,
like,
sleep all day, up all night. That's one. I'm just trying to keep it nice. I don't know that they go around drinking people's blood, but they might drink blood from something else. Or they might not. They just can call themselves vampires. But I don't know enough about it, but I do know that there are people that call themselves vampires.
One of the interesting things I came across here is in India that there was a $2,000 bounty put on vampires in a rural area of India, and that was by politicians because they believed that vampires were sucking the blood out of the villagers' cattle. That is something that is very recently, like you said, there's a subculture of persons that really believe they are vampires.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way they act. They, like you said, up all night, sleep all day. It's a Slaughter song, by the way. Yeah, and there is that group of people that believe that, and I do believe there are people that do still drink blood.
Yeah, not anybody I want to run into.
No, but I've also seen on television where people file their teeth down to make them look like fangs,
right?
Like a vampire.
Yep, I've seen that too. And then there's energy vampires. People that'll suck the life right out of you.
Well, that is true. There are people that will suck the life out of you. But that's not exactly the same thing. I think.
No. Where are we getting this list? We might want to call that out.
This is actually from the Travel Channel.
Cool.
Next one on the list is, which I think this one can go a lot of different ways, and we're probably going to talk about this a long while, I would guess. Aliens are little green men in flying saucers.
And that's the myth.
That's the myth. Well, first of all, they're not green, they're gray, right? I think that everybody thinks of the little green men. They're actually the little gray men.
Well, I've heard there's both.
Oh, okay.
So there might be a half-truth here. I don't know.
Okay.
But I've also heard that there's lizards, that Bigfoot could be an alien, that some aliens look just like us. I know.
What is it? There's 57 different types of aliens, if you believe it?
I don't know. You
Is that
went
what it
down
is?
that rabbit hole.
I think it's 57. I can't remember. We talked about this on Chris's podcast, or Chris's radio
there's a
station
lot.
one day. So I think that when they say little green men, though, I think most of the time people think that in your mind that picture is actually the grays, which are the short ones, long head, big eyes, no nose, little slit for a mouth. Those are the ones that were supposed to be in Roswell, right? And they were taken away there. Those are the ones that people say abduct them at night and take them onto their spacecrafts. I think that actually I think that they are the grays, not the green men. But you're right. There are also lots of different shapes,
Varieties,
types,
species.
I guess is a good way of putting it. Yes. Now you also hear, in a flying saucer.
Right.
Not every spacecraft is a saucer that has been reported either.
That's true, because we've seen the Tic Tac footage, which I realized that John Oliver just did a show on how true the UFOs are and some of the interesting things about that. So I'm going to look forward to watching that later. But, friends have seen them as triangles. Oh, gosh, I think they come in about every shape imaginable.
Cigar shape is the one that's prevalent, kind of a shape like a blimp.
Right.
Heard that one. They are
cubes.
Yeah, I've heard cubes as well. That's right. I have heard of very large ones, and some that are very, very small that can even come through doors and windows and come into houses that way. If you believe the lights that were in Arizona, that one was huge.
Right.
There is the report of the triangular one that went across southern Illinois that is massive as well. There's also the belief that they just don't fly in the air, but they are also in the ocean as well.
Cool. And I did, there was an article that came out either today or yesterday that some scientist has discovered a way to propel itself or propel an object, or actually move an object without a propellant. So basically it's like it can kind of float on its own or travel on its own. Right now they've only been able to replicate it in a very small something, but it's like the science is catching up with some of the stuff that maybe can explain how aliens got here. I think that's kind of a cool thing, but it's basic, because everything on Earth that we ever do has some kind of a propellant to make it move, but whatever it is that he discovered can move without that. So it's really kind of cool.
Well, you can also, this wormhole we could go down. We could stick on this one for an
Right.
There are people that believe that not only our government, but other governments around the world have back engineered these crafts. And that's how we have been able to technologically in the last 100 years move forward so quick.
Right.
There's also the belief that at one point in time that these beings were here and they were able to help the humans that were here technologically in a way that we can't even imagine now either. If you want to believe that they built the pyramids, and not only in Egypt, but the pyramids that are all over the world, South America, Central America.
Right. That was
China.
one of the things I said that the movement without propellant could explain how the pyramids were built.
There's also the belief that governments around the world already have and know these aliens and that they work with them on a daily basis.
Right.
If you believe Area 51 or 50, is it 50, Area 51? Is that right? Supposedly there's aliens there that work with people on a daily basis. If you believe that part.
Right. And then there's also the belief that we are here and that the government allows the aliens to take so many of us per year as either experiments or a food source. That's a terrifying thought. I don't want to believe that one, but it'd be interesting to...
Yeah, I don't think anybody wants to be ate by an alien.
No. Or abducted. I don't know. The way the state of things are going, it'd be like, take me away.
True. Well, there's also, when you talk about abductions, there's also the belief that once you have been abducted, you will be abducted over and over and over again.
Yep. I've heard that too.
Welcome back to Weirdos in the Wild. Before we return to our program, AJ and I would like to take a moment to remember my brother John Tincher, co-founder of Beyond This Life Paranormal, and Alan Oxley, AJ's father. Both passed away just before we recorded our first episode. Each and every episode going forward, from this one on, will be in remembrance of them. Thank you. From the Ground Up Books and Resources is more than just a place to buy books. We are a center that nourishes the passions of writers, artists, and book lovers alike. Our programs help educate writers and artists. Our holistic items and Reiki services offer a unique opportunity to build individuals from the ground up. Sign up for one of our memberships today and support us and bring our vision to life. 5% of all memberships will go towards prize money for contests and scholarships for our programs. Book donations are always welcome. Visit FromTheGroundUpBooks.com for more information.
Hydra Publications is your one stop for the best in genre fiction. Secrets and Blood is the debut horror novel from Dewey Hensley. Evangeline Grace, the sheriff in a small town, eastern Kentucky coal mining county, longs to start a new life in another place. However, Present and past evils conspire to jeopardize her plans and end the lives of those she loves, including her brother Sheldon, whom she promised to protect. Drugs, feuds, and her beliefs stand in the way of identifying the notorious Highlander in time to live her dream. However, menace reaches from Madison County's past.
Do you struggle with depression, ongoing medical issues, or have you experienced past trauma? If you have, please consider the help of energetic healing. At Dragonfly Pond Holistic Services, we utilize Karuna Reiki, crystals to align and heal chakra function, meditation, and sound healing to address these issues and help you in your healing process. To learn more about energetic healing and how to contact us, visit our website at dragonflypondenergy.com. For those who call in to schedule an appointment, mention this ad and receive $25 off your initial visit.
You know, there's been a whole lot of talk recently in the, like the government has been talking about UFOs and aliens. Mm-hmm. There are people that believe that we're talking about this because soon that's going to be revealed to us.
Right. And it is becoming so because, the government has admitted, they have released footage. I don't think they're admitting to everything, but that could be just the conspiracy theorist in me. But
I think that they're admitting that there are unidentified, well, that's not, what do they call it now? UAPs, not
unidentified aerial phenomena.
Yes, not unidentified flying objects anymore. But I guess that's the first step into saying, yes, there's stuff out there. The next step may be, okay, there's other life out there. So, and so they're not all little green men. They don't all fly around in saucers. And, if you believe that, then they're in Area 51 and they're at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base over in Dayton, Ohio. You can also believe that Nazi Germany was working with aliens if you want to go back that far as well. So,
yep.
The next one I think we can have some fun with too. America's paranormal fascination is new. Nah.
Ghosts have been around as long as we have, at least.
Right. Number one, that's where a lot of the myths and the tales that we hear come from. Mm-hmm. It's not only just, what was passed down from family to family. It is also ingrained in cultures.
Right. And you may think, I could see where the myth comes from, that you may think it's new because people were afraid to admit to believing and seeing, and you're constantly told back in the day, oh, that doesn't exist, go back to sleep, you didn't have this monster at your bed or whatever, that it really wasn't accepted as a part of our culture and a part of life really until the last few years. And that's when people started admitting that, hey, yeah, I've had these experiences. And then it was on television, and that exploded on television. So, and then unfortunately, a lot of people were, faking things and whatever, and kind of ruined that for us. But, for those of us that still pursue this because it really does happen, but still, I'm kind of going off track here, but it's not new.
No, it's not new. I mean, doing some of this research here, it talks about, some of the ghosts that people say they see, Mm-hmm. One of the most famous ghosts is people say they see Abraham Lincoln in the White House. Mm-hmm. Well, that just didn't happen in the last few years, right?
Right.
There is a story that Teddy Roosevelt tells about seeing something that what we would call today is a Bigfoot.
Right. They're in the Bible.
Yeah. You're right. It is in the Bible. We can talk about, the ghosts that are in the Bible. We can talk about the Nephilim that are in the Bible. That's another episode.
Yeah.
But, yes, it's in the Bible. We know that in Egypt, they drew hieroglyphics of what would be a dog man. Mm-hmm.
We've all seen it, and I'm sure you all pictured it in your head right then when he said it.
Yep.
Yep.
What do you call it? Centurons. What is that? What that's half man, half horse? What is that called?
Centaur.
Yep.
So. A unicorn.
A unicorn, that's right. Leprechauns, fairies, stuff that we've talked about before.
Yep.
Giants, little people,
Yeah, paranormal's not just ghosts.
No, it's not just ghosts. And I think people think it's just ghosts sometimes, but...
I think that might be one of our...
Oh, that's right. We got one of our lists. Damn it, Lynn.
Sorry.
Kidding you.
Get a little ahead of ourselves.
But it is funny that, the term, we go back to it, the term flying saucer was not a term, until somebody gave it that.
Right.
Was,
trying to describe what it looked like.
Right.
Yeah.
There's stories of, people seeing flying objects before the Wright brothers even flew an airplane.
Well, even that's in the Bible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, there are lots of things that point to paranormal. Besides just it being new and it being what we see on television now or movies that have come out.
Right. It's just more people open to talk about it now.
For sure. Here's one of my favorites. Only old buildings are haunted. Now, we are in an old building right now doing this. And yes, this building's haunted.
Right.
The building next door is old. It's haunted.
Right. But my farm is haunted.
Your farm is haunted.
The woods are haunted.
The woods are haunted.
I've heard story after story about being in a new building and it's haunted. Ghosts and other paranormal things are everywhere. They don't just hang out in an old building.
So, one of my most dramatic experiences, and Lynn knows this, I literally ran into somebody in my house that was 2 years old.
Right.
That I built that house. Mm-hmm. I was the first person to ever live in that house. And I had a paranormal experience in that house.
Right.
I had a paranormal experience in my truck.
Yep.
You
got to tell it. You haven't told this one yet.
Have I not told
Nope.
this yet? Oh, okay.
I don't think so. I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know if I did or not. I told you. But of course. But I was in my truck. My truck is new. It's a year and a half old, whatever. I get in my truck. I'm going somewhere just like most people. You get in, you got your mind on, okay, I got to go here, I got to do this, blah, blah, blah. Get in, turn the truck on, and I realized that there is something or someone sitting in the passenger seat right beside me. And I was like, what in the world? And I look over and there's this black mass of kind of like what we would call a shadow person. Exactly what we call a shadow person. I look over and realize it's there, and what I got the feeling was it was like it looked over at me and like, oh crap, he just saw me. Mm-hmm. And all at once it just turned into like this point at the top of what I guess you would consider its head, and then just shot out the window.
Like smoke.
Like just shoot, gone.
Yeah.
Now, we have also experienced things that are not even in a building. We've experienced things that are outside. Mm-hmm. I mean, both of us have.
Right.
Numerous occasions.
Right.
So it's, yes, we have been in old buildings. We have been in spooky old buildings, creepy old buildings.
Right.
But just for a ghost to be in the building, and it has to be an old building, no.
Because, like I said, they are everywhere. And they have been everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the reason why people think that it has to be in a spooky old building is because that's the way it's been marketed. If you own a really old building, you can get away with, I'm saying this as a store owner is getting ready to do this very thing, but you can open it up for paranormal investigations because people are attracted to that because they think that that's where it is. And it adds that spook factor, that thrill factor that a lot of people are after. And not necessarily like us wanting to go. Granted, we go to these places, but that's because we know there's paranormal activity there. But we go with the attitude of trying to learn or trying to help or trying to understand. And not just going because I want my pants scared off.
Right. And you hear lots of stories that people have paranormal experiences in places like hospitals. Hospitals.
My mom being one, she's a skeptic.
Yeah. I mean, it's, a hospital's not a scary old rundown building.
No.
Churches. We know that theaters are a hotbed. And theaters are not run-down, nasty old buildings.
No, they're places that people have gone and enjoyed being.
Right.
I can see myself being passed over to the other side, and I want to hang out in a theater and watch movies or plays because that's something I really enjoy doing.
I think, when I think, especially with theaters, I think there's because a lot of energy there.
Yeah.
And I think it's positive energy. People have come there to enjoy watching the play or hear a band or see a movie, whatever it may be. But I think that's why theaters have a lot of hauntings in them, is because of the positive energy and just that way that the entities can draw off that energy.
Right.
And outside, we have both experienced things outside. So it drives me crazy when people go, you gotta go inside.
Nope.
You can ask Lynn, y'all. I'm the first one that wants to go outside.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's always attracted to old barns for some reason.
Old barns pull me in. Now, yes, they are old and they are kind of creepy looking, but I'll be out on a property anytime and looking around on a property. Right.
And they say that bodies of water, rivers and lakes and all that increase the vibrations that it attracts things of energy, like, ghosts or whatever, that they are drawn towards the water.
And, we sit here and we just go, it has to be an old building. Well,
not at all.
Not at all. It can be a woods. We know there is crazy paranormal stuff in the woods.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you can have everything from animals that are not supposed to be there to Sasquatches to dogmen, goatmen,
spirits,
for sure,
fairies, gnomes.
You live kind of in a wooded area, and you have experienced things outside in your woods too,
right? Well, just one instance is actually the day that I was having the house inspected before I bought the farm, and we pulled up and we went in the house, and I realized I'd forgotten my bottle of water. And we were going to be waiting for a little bit because we'd gotten there ahead of the realtor. But the inspector was there, so we were there. So I went back out to the car, and I think I told this story in the mirror thing, but I went back out to the car to get my bottle of water, and when I looked up and could see in the side view mirror, I saw an Indian behind me, a Native American. And I turned around, there was nothing there. So, I mean, there's spirits of all kinds, in the woods or on the land, and they didn't have big hospitals or churches or insane asylums to hang out in. So.
This is one you're gonna love. Not really. It's more me. There is no physical evidence of Bigfoot.
Yeah, that's yours. I don't have any personal experience with that at all.
Well, first of all, yes, there is physical evidence. There are a lot of people say, number one, you can't trust any of the footage that has been made of a Bigfoot. Well, I know, yes, there are a lot of people that want to try to hoax, and there are people that have been caught hoaxing. Now, but there is also the Patty film from Willow Creek in California.
The famous one. Everybody knows.
Everyone knows. And for some reason, people just cannot debunk that one.
Yeah.
There have been hair samples, tissue samples, poop, if you want to count that.
And the big footprints.
And the footprints. There are experts in this field now that are studying that. I think the most famous one is Dr. Jeff Meldrum, and he is a expert on. He is a real college professor and an expert. He's from Idaho State University, and he has been able to look at these footprints and has been able to show how a Bigfoot foot, I guess is a good way, a Sasquatch foot, is different from a human foot, because there is what they call it, the metatarsal joint, I think is what they call it. I have to go back and look it up. Or metatarsal ridge, that's what it's called. So the foot is actually different. The foot is actually physically different from a human foot. There are other people that collect these casts of foots, of Bigfoot casts. And they've got it down to the point where they can tell if they have ran across this same Sasquatch before or not. By the foot.
So the rigid, like, fingerprint.
By the fingerprint. I mean, they found things where, like they're missing toes.
Oh, wow.
They have handprints. There is a few cases of face prints where Bigfoots have pressed themselves up against windows.
Oh, wow. I was picturing them falling down in the mud, but that's...
But no, there's
more scary.
There are some, and where they have, if you want to believe this, they have very oily skin. So they've been able to have this oil that has been left on windows and doors of houses, on
the outside.
On the outside, car windows, butt prints. They've had butt prints where they've sat down in mud.
Oh, wow. How would you know that was a Bigfoot butt?
Because that'd be a big butt.
But do you like big butts?
I cannot lie. I set that one up, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
I did. Nicely done, though, Lynn. Nicely done. So if you want to believe that there isn't one, and until there is, and there are those people that believe that they will never accept it until there is a body drug in.
And then people won't accept that either.
No, they won't. And there are also lots of people that say that they have shot and killed these things before. So to say there is no evidence of it, here's my thought process of it. Ghosts are number one on my list and Bigfoots are number two. Even though it's not physical evidence, how do you account for thousands of people coming up with the same type of incident, story, whatever you want to call it?
Right.
And you just think they're all just making it up?
Right. It's like, even with shadow people, so many people have seen them. And my husband and I were talking about this the other day, that, the one that we saw was me, you, and my daughter, Becca. So more than one person saw it. But usually a shadow person is only seen by a handful of people at a time at the most, where a UFO could be seen by thousands. So more people tend to believe UFOs as a possibility because, a shadow person isn't going to be 40 feet tall out there where, walking down New York,
Right. He's not walking down Park Avenue.
No,
right?
Right. He's not shopping, but, so it's easier to believe that when more people can corroborate the same story, where a lot of this stuff, only a couple of people or a handful of people can see at a time.
Next one. We kind of already touched on this, but we might touch on it. We'll talk about it a little bit more. Ghosts only come out at night.
Well, I know better than that, too.
Yeah. We both know better than that.
Yeah.
I just told the story of whatever's in my truck.
Right.
You just told the story of the Native American that you
Right.
saw on your property. We have both seen things during the day.
Mm-hmm. The lady in here with the broom in this store was during the day.
Yep. It was always, I guess, before even I got into this and, really started doing investigations, everything. That was always the question I always had was, well, why do they always do it in the middle of the night?
Yeah.
Because I knew better.
Right.
I had experienced things on my own before I started doing this, and that's what got me to where I am now. But
I have a theory on that.
Okay, let's hear it.
Specifically with shadow people, because I feel like they think they can hide better.
At night? In
At
the
night,
dark? Yeah.
In the dark, even though they are darker than dark, and you can still see them. But I could see Well, because I've seen a shadow person just like you did in your truck. I've seen one broad daylight, more than one, standing on the side of the road. But I feel like maybe they want to hide. They don't want people gawking at them. So they stay in the dark corners.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is just my theory. But no, they don't just come out at night.
No. You've had that door open. It wasn't night then.
No, middle of the day.
Where we used to work. You remember the faucet that turned off and on for me in the middle of the afternoon.
Right.
So.
Yeah, my water turned on at home middle of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that was kind of, I get this myth because because when I would do that, like I said, before I started doing this, I always like, why do they got to wait till midnight to go do that?
Right.
I know it happens during the day, regular old daylight hours.
Mm-hmm. We hooked up the portal and got responses.
Oh, yeah.
Done the REM pods and all that through the day, and it's been just the same as it would have been at night.
I've saw some amazing pictures during the day.
Yeah.
Especially, I've saw some really good pictures out at Waverly Hills during the day.
Mm-hmm. Well, that one that Blair, we just talked about on her episode.
Yeah,
that was broad daylight in the morning.
It was broad daylight. You're right. I didn't even think about that.
Yep.
She talked about the light coming in through the skylights. Yeah, it was daylight then.
Yep.
So yeah, that's just definitely a myth that is easily debunked. The other one here says paranormal facts exist. So anyone who claims that they have access to the rule book of the paranormal and that they know a foolproof way of making a ghost go boo is probably a charlatan or about to be pretty famous. Plenty of researchers, including reputable scientists, have compelling theories about the unexplained phenomenon and are attempting to apply those utilizing the science method. But so far, paranormal facts don't quite exist.
I kind of agree with that.
I kind of agree with it, and I kind of don't.
Right.
Now, I think there are some paranormal things that you could say are facts.
Mm-hmm.
I think you could easily say that there's definitely a difference between an intelligent haunting and a residual haunting.
Mm-hmm.
And we have observed both.
Right.
The residual haunting is the same thing over and over and over.
On a loop.
Yes. Yeah. We've seen it. Both. We've seen it. We saw it at Waverly Hills not long ago.
Right.
We talked about Waverly a lot tonight.
Yeah, we have. It must be time to go back.
It must be. I'm ready. I'm always ready to go. It never fails, folks. Ever.
Nope.
But we've also, at that same night, we had what you would consider a intelligent haunting when that door slammed on us.
Mm-hmm.
And the residual haunting, remember, we watched that thing go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Right.
Like it was a nurse or an orderly or a doctor or somebody
doing the same little task.
So a part of it I would agree with. Now, if somebody tells you you're an expert,
they lie.
They lie. They lie.
As much as we've done this, we're not even close.
Not even close. No. Now, I know some people that I would probably consider very close to being experts, but if you probably ask them, they're going to tell you no as well.
Yeah.
I think there are people that know a lot about the subject, know a lot about this field, but as soon as somebody tells you you're an expert, then you might as well just walk away. Because one thing this will do to you is it will humble you, because every time you think you got something figured out, it's going to come back and it's just going to do something and you're going to be like, ugh, you proved me wrong again.
Yeah. Or now I got to believe that too.
And Lynn likes to throw that one in my face for the orbs. So
yeah. Yeah, because I literally had just said on one of the podcasts recently that I'd never seen a demon. And boom, what shows up at the, I won't say in case you're listening to these backwards.
Yeah. But it's on one of these podcasts.
Yeah.
This one or the next one or the one before this. Anyway.
You'll find it. Just listen.
But it will humble you. It will make you a believer very quickly as well. Mm-hmm. I think that the way I look at this is I learn every time we go somewhere.
Yeah.
And it may be an experience, or I may have learned something from somebody else that I'm going to use the next time.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I don't think we will ever know everything.
No. And it was that question that got me into doing this. And I'm, I know that's what got you doing this too, is that we were looking for answers, and there were probably answers that we will never get.
No. We just keep coming back with more questions.
Yes, that is true.
But yes, I know for a fact that shadow people exist.
They do exist.
That is a fact to me.
They do exist.
And if you don't believe me, that's okay. You're allowed to believe what you want to believe, but I know it for a fact.
Ghosts do exist.
They
I
do
know that
exist.
for a fact. I have seen them.
Yeah.
I have been touched.
Uh-huh.
I have heard disembodied voices.
Yep.
I have heard footsteps when nobody's there.
Right.
We have caught some footage that is unfreaking believable.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, to me, it's completely true.
Yeah.
And I'll hang out and I'll talk with those skeptics like we talked about earlier.
That's right.
And we'll have our conversations. But that's kind of the end of what I had. Do you have any other ones that you came up with or thought about as we were going along?
No, I think that's about it for me.
It's an interesting topic because I think a lot of people will look at this as a skeptical thing.
Right.
It's not. It's not a skeptical thing. If you are skeptical and you want to listen to us, that's great. We'll take you along the journey, and hopefully someday we can change your mind about this.
And if not, maybe something else will.
That's right. And if not, hey, continue to listen to us because
Because we're weird.
Because we are weird. She's weird, really.
I'm really weird.
But we are going to be doing some other weird stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We've got some investigations coming up, and we're going to push the weirdness a little bit further than we've pushed before in some of these investigations. So,
yeah.
So stick with us, folks.
We hope it works.
It's all going to go bad real quick.
But we're going to have fun trying.
We're going to try, and we're hopefully, and that's another, I guess that's another myth that you just brought up. If you watch TV, you think that when you go on these ghost investigations that something happens as soon as you walk in the door, or something happens every night.
It does sometimes.
It does sometimes. But there are nights, too, where there is nothing.
Right.
And they don't want to come out and play.
Right. No matter what you do or say.
Yep. So I think that's another myth that people would believe if you watch TV a lot.
Right.
Or the shows that are on TV, I should say.
And not everyone gets possessed. I'll leave that there and not say anything else.
We know what show that is. I've never been possessed. I don't know.
No.
But anyway.
Now, let's hopefully we didn't just make that happen.
Yes. But stick around with us. We got a lot coming up this summer. We got a lot of plans. And I'm sure more things are going to come around for us this summer as there will be some more opportunities coming up, I'm sure, with some of our other groups that we like to hang out with. So stick around with us. We've got a lot to look forward to. We're going to have some fun, and we're going to bring you along for the ride. So
That's right.
Lynn,
Thank
get
you.
us out of here.
All right. Thanks for listening, everyone, and keep it weird, y'all.
Thank you for joining us at Weirdos in the Wild. Please show us some love and support on our Patreon account at Weirdos in the Wild. Like us on all of our social media. And if you've had an experience you'd like to share with us, visit our site at weirdosinthewild.com. Until next time, keep it weird, y'all.